As you can see, I have spectacular views from my back garden across Devon countryside, looking north towards Tiverton and eventually Exmoor. I often have cows in the field 1 metre away. The famous Quicks cheesemaker herd, 300 strong. Cows are curious, intelligent and quite funny and play games with each other and us. They often come up and talk to me. Someone once taught me a special call that brings them over to me. An ex-boyfriend. Bastard. No, he really was. The enormous field is divided into paddocks, each sectioned off with a strong fabric tape, and they only graze one area each day. Now, cows know when it's milking time. Unlike us humans, they have a functioning internal clock. About 10 minutes before the herdsman arrives, they get restless and stand up, and if he is late, they start calling to him to hurry up. 2 weeks ago, one of them worked out that if she put her head under the tape, she could push it up and squeeze underneath into the next paddock. The rest of the herd started bellowing, "Here, here, well done, jolly good show, old chap, girl." It was just like the House of Commons. Realising the old girl had found fresh pastures, some of the herd started to follow, one at a time, neck up, under the tape and in. At around 2:20, one by one, they all returned to the original field. You could almost hear them saying, "Quick, excuse the pun, get back into the paddock. We're supposed to be in before the herdsman discovers our misdemeanours." It was embarrassing for me because I had rung the farm and told them what had happened. I suspect Paul, the manager, thought I had imagined it. This is my lovely shaded sitting area where I try to write. I grew the pink hydrangea from a cutting, and although it seems to have grown paler, I still love it. The climbing hydrangea petiolaris on either side has lovely white flowers which the bees love, and this gives me privacy on both sides of the sanctuary. I have a house on one side which used to look straight into my garden. The plants are growing up a trellis erected by another ex, not a bastard. This corner shows many of the plants I have dragged around all my rental properties over the last 20 years. Silver birch tree, Deutzia with white flowers on the right, Hydrangea Annabelle with the large round cream flowers on the left. There are also Weigelia, fuchsia, pansies, osteospermum, geraniums, and sundry other things tucked away in there. The hedge may look awful, but it serves a purpose. It keeps the cats out. We have 16 in our road, and they spend most of their days killing goldfinches, blackbirds, shrews, and moles. The person next door keeps sundry small animals in cages, not least little birds. They, of course, give off distress calls to all the birds in the area, especially in this heat, so my bird table is empty. What I do have, though, is the most wonderful skylarks, which sing above the field for most of the day. They remind me of my childhood, when I used to lie on my back in the cornfields, watching and listening to them, imagining what it must be like to be up there. Then my father introduced me to that wonderful piece of music, The Lark Ascending by Vaughan Williams. I could not believe anyone could write anything so achingly beautiful, and that sounded so like the song of the beautiful bird I had loved all my life. While rescuing an old sock from my drain, during a recent clear-up of my back porch, as I reached in, it wriggled, cold and wet. I screamed, and the poor amphibian panicked. He was sitting under my dripping outflows. I must do something about that tap. He was trying to stay hydrated in the heat. I left it alone to recover from the trauma, but the next morning it was still there. Fed up with having to clean my teeth in the kitchen so it did not get covered in sodium fluoride and titanium dioxide from my Sensodyne whitening toothpaste, there are other brands, and end up as an albino toad, not to mention being at risk of COVID-19 spittle. I picked it up and put it back under the water butt where it once lived. The following morning, it was gone. As I searched around, something moved in the kitchen drain, and there it was in the direct line of the benzisothiazolionine limonene, brackets, can cause serious eye irritation. Waitrose washing up liquid. Other washing up liquids are available. I tried to grab the toad, and it shot up the downpipe, leaving me wrestling with one back leg. Frightened of pulling it off, I retreated. No sign of it the following morning, legless or not. That day, I talked to a lady up the road who also had a difficult toad. I suggested we introduce them, as they may be struggling with social distancing. What if they are both males, she said. They might fight. In that case, we need to find out what sex they are, I replied. She looked at me with that "your call" face, and I went home. And I Googled, how do you sex a toad? And here is the answer. You can look it up yourself. Basically, you catch the toad. Squeeze it, gently, behind the ears. And if it makes a squeaky, grunty noise, it is a male, unhappy about being humped by another male. If it remains silent and has an expectant grin on its face, it is a compliant female, only too happy to oblige. I have not seen my toad since, but I suspect it overheard and thought, hell, I'm out of here. No one is squeezing any of my bits. The front of my house, which is a tiny open-plan one-bedroom bungalow, is quite colourful. I bought these pink geraniums and dark blue verbena, which you can see in the troughs, from Plants Galore in Exeter in March, when the company had just received an enforcement notice from the council and was surrounded by police. I wore a huge mask to protect myself, and also so I could be incognito. I decided to support them as 300 metres away, Aldi was selling garden plants and compost, and under much less stringent safety conditions. Meanwhile, Plants Galore was about to go under for doing the same thing. A reporter from a press agency took my photo, with my permission. He did not know who would buy the story, he said. How was I to know it would be the Sun and the Daily Mail? It was online on the front pages the next morning. I am paranoid about privacy, but no one would recognise me behind the huge mask. Would you? When you open the Sun website, just click on Manage Cookies, then decline all, then save and exit. Alas, last week, and 3 months later, I went into my computer shop in Exeter, and the owner said, I saw you in the Sun, adding, anyone who knows you would realise immediately it was you. Bugger. Plants Galore has been approached by a large group of solicitors offering to defend them on a no-win, no-fee basis. They say they know they can win. The plants have been amazing. They grow their own, and they're really good quality. Now, 3 months old, I've only had to deadhead them once, and that was last week. I think they will flower like this all summer. The penultimate picture is the front corner of my garden, with a hydrangea I grew from a cutting. There is some night-scented stock to the left, and my favourite penstemon, white with peach-coloured frills, to the right. Finally, I will leave you with a late sky and the fluffy white clouds we have come to know and love, with no chemtrails to get in the way.